Welcome to the Recap 2022, a series that looks at the highlights, the achievements, and the work of ministries across all of government as we continue to deliver on our promises to you. 2022 saw the much anticipated resumption of face-to-face learning for our children, and the Ministry of Education overcame challenges to complete work on schools across the country while focusing on digitalization, which continues to be a priority in the ministry's service delivery. A lot has happened over the last year in this ministry, so let's have a look at just some of the highlights.
If I had to use one word to describe 2022 at the Ministry of Education, that word would be hope. We started this year in the hope that our children would be back to school in their physical classrooms. We were happy for the online education to continue for continuity for our children. However, we needed to get back to the physical classroom. And I want to thank all of our teachers, our parents, our students who made that a reality. And the team at the Ministry of Education, our Education District Health Unit, our nurses and our doctor, who managed our COVID situation so that our children could get back to school. And a major accomplishment is that once school was open fully, come September 5th, 2022, our children never looked back. And I'm very, very glad for that because we saw the effects of the learning loss on our children. And the institution of the vacation revision program was also another area that was very positive for our children. And we look forward to implementing that in our next year, even as we seek to ensure that our children are well prepared for secondary school and can surmount the effects of the learning loss they would have experienced in the last 2 years of being at home. With respect to our children and their SEA results, that was another area of great success for the Ministry of Education, where we launched our first online SEA portal results for our children. And that was in an effort to ensure that children would receive those results in the privacy of their homes and away from the scrutiny of all of their classmates and parents. It was a resounding success, and I want to thank the IT team and all of those at the Ministry of Education or Communications Department for ensuring that that came off without a hitch. And we look forward to, in 2023, our SEA results process being completely paperless. That's just part of our digital transformation agenda, which again saw great success and progress in 2022. We have our brand new minted Educational Technology Unit, and that unit was staffed adequately to begin the process of digitizing all of our students' records. So that process is ongoing now, begun in 2022, where the student management system has now been progressed to the point where it's being instituted across 70 schools. And we are combining that with the school learning management system, where we are moving our teachers into a space where they have online classes, online classrooms, the e-classroom. And so whether learning is physical or virtual, our teachers have this sacred space where they can interact with their students. That will do a lot for educational continuity. For as we continue to place focus on infrastructure at our schools, there are times where our students must be engaged virtually, and this will help us in that regard. With respect to infrastructure, however, we are proud at the Ministry of Education to have completed in 2022 the construction of over 13 new schools and to have delivered that to our students and the country in general. 2022, a year of hope for the Ministry of Education, a year of implementation, and I want to give our thanks to our parents, our teachers, the PSs of the ministry, the team, all the heads of divisions for making all of this possible. We look forward to a brighter and better 2023.
As the nation continues to move forward, focus must be placed on young people in combating unemployment, food security, and poverty. This ministry leads the effort in creating and enabling programs and initiatives for the young people of this country, as well as fostering an entrepreneurial mindset in making job creators out of job seekers and contributing to our sustainable development. Let's have a look.
My fellow citizens, it is a pleasure to share with you some highlights of the work of the Ministry of Labor in 2022. When you hear about the Ministry of Labor, most people think about jobs only. Yes, employment opportunities are critical, and are at the core of our mandate. However, our role involves much more, like maintaining industrial peace and ensuring that rights and privileges in the workplace are protected. In 2022, the Ministry of Labour continued to support employment and employability opportunities for our young people and those seeking jobs. Through government's free public employment service, known as the National Employment Service Agency, we successfully assisted 438 persons in gaining employment. Additionally, through the farm program, 592 men and women have gained the opportunity to work on farms in Canada on a short-term basis for this year. The on-the-job training program, which celebrated its 20th anniversary this year, onboarded 2,317 young persons, bringing the number of active trainees to 4,162. We have registered 89 new training providers, thereby creating even more job opportunities. An induction training program for trainees was also developed and is geared towards building the capacity of the trainees in areas such as effective communication, improved attitude, and work ethic. Additionally, exit seminars were held on a bi-monthly basis to smoothly transition trainees out of the program with the options for employment and entrepreneurship. Also, quarterly mental health training programs were introduced to support mental health and the well-being of all trainees. The Cipriani College of Labour and Cooperative Study, which also falls under this ministry, has maintained its position as the premier tertiary education provider in labour and cooperative studies, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but regionally. I am proud to say that the college now offers all its programs online with an unmatched distant learning facility. In our efforts to maintain industrial peace and stability, the Ministry of Labour convened 1,519 conciliation meetings to address disputes arising between employers and employees. 960 trade disputes were reported to the Ministry in 2022, and 63 collective agreements were vetted and submitted to the Industrial Court for registration. In fulfilling our responsibility to protect your rights as employees and employers, we continue to review legislation with the aim of modernizing them to suit the realities of the world of work. In 2022, we successfully repealed the Foreign Labour Contracts Act. We progressed work in reviewing the Industrial Relations Act, the Cipriani College of Labour and Cooperative Studies Act, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, the Minimum Wages Act, the Maternity Protection Act, and the Truck Act. The Ministry of Labour also continued to work with the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs on the Draft Sexual Harassment Bill 2022. The Ministry of Labour, through its Labour Inspectorate Unit, also conducted 647 inspections, which have resulted in the recovery of over $4 million in arrears owed to workers for outstanding wages, unpaid sick leave, vacation leave, and maternity leave. Additionally, in ensuring the safety and health of the workforce, 1,188 inspections in industrial establishments were conducted by the Occupational Safety and Health Agency, and 119 complaints were investigated. Further, we enhanced our monitoring and investigation of child labor cases, with 94% of reports of child labor are currently under investigation. We remain very active in working with organizations in developing their workplace policies on HIV and AIDS, which are aligned to the national policy, as well as sensitizing persons on the National Workplace Policy on Sexual Harassment. I take this opportunity to thank the Ministry of Labour's team for the support I continue to receive. Finally, on behalf of the staff of the Ministry of Labour, I wish you and your families God's richest blessings for a safe and peaceful Christmas and a productive 2023.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry is a critical driver of economic activity. The uncertain environment of the last 2 years created market and supply chain disruptions. Minister Paula Gopi-Skun updates us on how our country fared over the past year, creating and enabling environments for business, trade and investments in Trinidad and Tobago.
As we approach the end of this year, I'm very pleased to reflect on some of the notable achievements made by the Ministry of Trade and Industry in 2022. As a critical driver of economic activity, the Ministry continued to implement, along with its key agencies and stakeholders, several initiatives aimed at creating a more enabling environment that facilitates investment, trade, and business. I'm pleased to report that operational investments facilitated by the Ministry of Trade and Industry in 2022 was just over $1 billion TT across several sectors, including business process outsourcing, manufacturing, logistics and distribution, and hotel development. These investments created as many as 1,700 jobs. We were able to close an additional $646 million in investments, which, when operational, will create employment for another 1,700 persons in the near future. We have also acquired several new tenants at the Phoenix Park Industrial Estate, Moruga Agro-Processing and Light Industrial Park, and completely sold out Factory Road Industrial Estate. These achievements are a true testament to growing investor confidence in Trinidad and Tobago, and we recognize to become more attractive for investors, we must improve the ease of doing business. While there are several government-led initiatives currently ongoing, one notable initiative is increasing the availability of up-to-date and accurate information, which would allow for sound business decision-making. And in May of 2022, the Trade and Business Information Portal was launched to provide persons access to multiple tools and resources under three main categories: trade, business, and investment. And to date, the portal has already received over 245,000 unique visits from persons across 85 countries in 6 continents. Make sure to check it out at www.ttbizlink.gov.tt. We also appreciate that institutional reform is necessary to modernize our agencies and provide better services to all stakeholders. This year, the Special Economic Zones Act was passed and a board was established for the new Special Economic Zone Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. This will replace the outdated Free Zone Company with a modern licensing and administrative regime for domestic and foreign investors and create numerous full-time jobs for citizens. Further, the Ministry has begun the process to amalgamate the operations of Invest TT, Export TT, and Creative TT into a single entity, the Trinidad and Tobago Trade and Investment Promotion Agency. This new agency will brand our country's offering and have a more efficient and targeted approach to trade and investment promotion. Additionally, the government has commenced the transformation of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards through the modernization of the Standards Act and the Metrology Act to support the strengthening of the national quality infrastructure. And this is important to keep apace with the changing global landscape and will have significant benefits for our manufacturers, our exporters, and our consumers. Specific mention must be made on the performance of our manufacturing sector, which continues to play a pivotal role in revenue generation and job creation. In 2022, non-energy exports increased by 10.3%, and of this, the non-energy manufacturing sector exports increased by 25%, from $10.2 TT billion to TT $12.8 billion. And this level of exports in fiscal 2022 was also 48% higher than fiscal 2019 pre-pandemic levels. This growth must be commended and also reflects the effectiveness of government-led initiatives. In collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association and Export TT, over 140 small and medium-sized enterprises participated in 11 trade missions with a goal of penetrating new markets to add impetus to advancing exports. In 2022, Trinidad and Tobago signed a general framework agreement with the government of Curaçao to negotiate a partial scope trade agreement to increase market access for exporters, and this adds to the ongoing negotiations with Chile. Understanding the challenges to accessing finance, the Ministry continued to support a number of firms with various forms of grant funding. Over 100 firms and individuals received funding from the International Certification Fund, the Grant Fund Facility, the Steel Pan Manufacturing Grant Fund Facility, the Research and Development Facility, Tobago Capacity Building Program, and the Yachting Grant Fund Facility. This government appreciates that our greatest asset is the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and as such, significant resources have been allocated to build the skills of citizens through a number of programs, including the Apprenticeship Program for the Non-Energy Manufacturing Sector, the Apprenticeship Program for the Wood and Wood Products Manufacturing Subsector, the Fashion Value Chain Investment Program for over 170 local designers, the Script to Screen Program for our budding screenwriters, and the Live Music District, which catered to close to 500 performers. Notwithstanding ongoing global events, the economy and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago have been able to show a unique resilience that will manifest into a more productive society. We at the Ministry of Trade and Industry remain committed to implementing the necessary policies and initiatives which will continue to drive the development of a more sustainable and vibrant economy in which all stakeholders are able to participate to ensure the prosperity of future generations. Allow me to wish the population season's greetings, and may you use these holidays to spend time with your families and loved ones. I also wish a happy new year filled with peace, hope, family, and God's blessings. And to the business community, I wish you a more productive and successful 2023. As we move forward as a nation, I look forward to the equitable participation of all in the growth and development of our economy and our country.
This ministry continued to stay in the game despite life changes over the previous year. Here's a ministry that never slowed down. The Ministry of Sport and Community Development was obviously impacted by the restrictions imposed to preserve the lives and livelihoods of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Minister of Sport and Community Development tells us some of the ways that the ministry delivered to communities and the sporting fraternity throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
As 2022 approached, we were relieved to leave behind the uncertainty and obstacles of the preceding 2 years. The pandemic underlined the importance of strengthening the ministry's adaptability, flexibility, impact, and reach. Here are some of the ways in which we served, supported, and connected with our communities and the sporting fraternity this year. After 2 years of non-essential sporting activity, we welcomed the return to play as the COVID-19 restrictions were relaxed. Trinidad and Tobago hosted a number of international and regional sporting events as we promoted our sport tourism agenda. This year, we hosted the ICC Men's Under-19 Cricket Championship, the Pan Am Age Group Aquatics, the Women's CONCACAF qualifiers in Tobago, and 7 tennis tournaments, which included the Davis Cup. This year, we were home once again to the biggest party in sport, the Caribbean Premier League, as we celebrated 10 years of CPL. We joined the Queen's Park Cricket Club in hosting the Squash Premier Tournament, and we partnered with the Trinidad and Tobago Cycling Federation to host the Caribbean Track Cycling Championship. This year, we launched the UCI World Cycling Center at our very own National Cycling Velodrome in Couva, positioning Trinidad and Tobago as the home of the first UCI satellite center in the hemisphere. We continue to work hand in hand with our national governing bodies and their respective international parent bodies to obtain international recognition and certification toward creating regional centers for training and development in the Americas. We are currently working with FINA in upgrading our National Aquatic Center and the International Tennis Federation in strengthening the structure and enhancing the operations of our National Racquet Center in Tacarigua. Under our Shape in Communities program, we ramped up our focus on community sport by delivering training to over 200 coaches and sport administrators. We look forward to increasing these numbers to support the development of sport and improve the performance of our athletes. We partnered with national sporting bodies to deliver 10 sporting camps in several communities across Trinidad and Tobago, free of charge to the national population. We had over 500 participants on board, and due to the overwhelming success, we are expanding the program this year. Our April Pools Learn to Swim program was a tremendous success. Over 500 participants, both adults and children, learned the fundamentals of swimming, life-saving, rescue techniques, and adaptive swimming. We have a beautiful partnership with the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, who facilitates year-round training and development activities at the Mova, Maloney, and Laventille public swimming pools. We are conducting refurbishment works at the other 6 community pools to deliver the same programs at these locations. Our Pink Rain campaign, which promotes the participation of women and girls in sport, took flight as 400 ladies took to the streets to cover 83 miles and encourage their peers to make physical fitness and holistic health a priority. Our Becoming workshop provided life skills training for 100 female athletes from the age of 12 to 20. We continue to be of service to the athletic community as they remain committed to bringing honor and glory to our country. This year, we saw the likes of Nicholas Paul, Jerry Richards, and Dylan Carter take the world by storm, racking up medals and creating history in their respective sports. Our government stands resolute in our commitment to provide support to these young sporting icons. Last year, through our Elite Athlete Fund, the Ministry's Grant Assistance Program, and our National Rewards and Incentives Framework, we provided financial support to the tune of $45 million to our athletes. Over the past 7 years, that support has topped $200 million, and we expect to provide additional support in the upcoming fiscal year. Other grant support included assistance to over 50 community development groups and over 300 grants to vulnerable citizens through the National Commission for Self-Help Limited. We continue to improve sporting facilities as we began works on facilities in communities like Bookmalatris, Tudds Road, Sangre Grande Sporting Complex, and the Mahaika Sporting Complex in Point Fortin. We ramp up our efforts in 2023 as we pursue refurbishment works at Atto Bolden Stadium, Dwight York Stadium, and the Hasty Crawford Stadium, just to name a few. These facilities will come alive next year as we host the 7th Commonwealth Youth Games in August, where we'll welcome 79 Commonwealth countries to our beautiful shores. Community participation, inclusion, and service are pivotal to the ministry's mandate. To this end, we delivered community centers to communities like Belmont, Lisa's Gardens, Cayman, Maitagal, Tacarigua, Maraval, Bellevue, Debay, Dundonald Hill. These new centers are now equipped with internet cafes, teaching stations, and gyms for the residents' use. Our various community development programs continue to touch hearts and change lives for the better. This year, over 3,400 citizens completed training courses through our community education program, which helped participants to sharpen their skills and create small businesses towards achieving additional flow of income. We partnered with NEDCO to train 54 community entrepreneurs through the Entrepreneurial Management and Development Program under the theme With These Hands. Today, we can boast of at least 38 entrepreneurs who are ready to make their own mark and show off their new offerings in the marketplace. The Export Centers Company Limited has created the Craft Hub initiative in support of our handicraft sector, and now our artisans can utilize Parlor, our virtual marketplace and training platform, to improve their skills and grow their businesses. After 2 years of hiatus, the Prime Minister's Best Village Trophy competition saw a return of 190 Best Village groups and the creation of 25 new groups. We look forward to a grand affair in this upcoming year as the Best Village family celebrates 60 years of energy and excitement. Other accomplishments included initiatives like our Dream Chasers Apprenticeship and Mentorship Program, which exposed over 100 youngsters to the world of work and contributed to their personal and professional development. The Empower TT project started last fiscal year and is currently in session as we place laser focus on our young men from at-risk communities, providing a platform for mentorship, education, and much needed support. Our Community Mediation Division continues to host workshops and conferences centered on conflict resolution, community empowerment, support for our menfolk, and guidance for our parents. We at the Ministry of Sport and Community Development remain committed to empowering communities, supporting the sporting fraternity, and most importantly, to serving youth. I take this opportunity to thank all of our stakeholders, our community pillars, members of the sporting fraternity, and our dedicated athletes. I salute the hard-working staff of the ministry and the team members from the supporting entities under our watch. To all of our dear citizens, thank you for your encouragement, your best wishes and support. I extend the happiest and heartiest holiday greetings to you and your family, and I look forward to working hand in hand to improve the lot for all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you. God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for joining us on the Recap 2022. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode.